Orlando Magic, NBA G League basketball. Good evening, everybody. Let's do this. Alongside Mike Coleman, I'm Dan Hasty, and MC. It's good to finally have the boys back in town.
It has been a hot minute since we've gathered and to see the gold. It's hard. They had an 8-game road trip. We'll talk about that in a bit. It was a bit of a struggle bus, but nothing like home cooking here at the Van Andel to get back on track against a quality opponent in the Osceola Magic, first place in the Eastern Conference. Not by accident. This is a very good basketball club.
14-5. The Orlando Magic have done a good job developing players over the last handful of years. We've obviously seen some of the impressive players. Obviously, Mo Wagner came through University of Michigan once upon a time, but they have a lot more where that came from and some national championship pedigree on this team.
Yeah, it's a fantastic ball club, and what I like about Osceola, every year they're in the playoff mix. This is a team that made it to the G League Finals. Last year, they lost to Stockton in 3 games, but they got 3 players that were on that roster that are on the team right now. So you bring that back, and if you like entertaining basketball, you want to see the best, and you want to beat the best, this is a good start for Grand Rapids to get back on track.
Speaking of having a good start, it looks like Grand Rapids is going to get a little extra help over the next coming days and weeks, as Spencer Jones, Grand Rapids Gold alumnus, had his 2-way contract converted to a standard contract. Thus, a 2-way spot has opened up, and KJ Simpson, who actually hit a game-winning shot with the Colorado Buffaloes in last year's NCAA tournament, is now a 2-way signee of the Denver Nuggets. So congratulations to him. We're ready for basketball here in Grand Rapids. We hope you are. Julian Scott is our official. He's our head official for this one here today, as Osceola wins the tip and starts with the basketball. That's Alex Morales, Colin Castleton, Justin Manaya, Lester Quinones, and Reese Beekman. It's Quinones floats one up a little too strong as it's hauled in by Grand Rapids. Their 5 looks like this. Curtis Jones, one of those 2-way players for the Denver Nuggets, who's gotten a handful of opportunities in the NBA this year. No surprise with how he's played here. Speaking of NBA opportunities, Moses Brown got it poked away, but it's taken from Dane Goodwin, who got it blocked, and Osceola looks to push. Quinones spins it out, and Morales with a quick flash pass inside. That's Castleton. Look at the ball movement here from Osceola. Morales with a whole bunch of steps, and they let it go, and he gets the shot.
Yeah, Morales showing some 2-way talent up with with Orlando, back with Osceola, and averaging 16.5. He's a dynamic force.
You see Coleman Hawkins on the floor. He's also got Ben Coupette Jr. and the aforementioned Dane Goodwin. Time ticking down on the goal. Little turnaround jumper is pure for Dane Goodwin.
Now he's coming off a career high against the loss to Westchester on Thursday. He scored 37 in the losing effort. Curtis Jones joined him with 36, but it wasn't enough.
That is 2 outstanding performances. Goal to hope they can get a little bit more from some of the supporting cast. Moses Brown has been phenomenal this season as he has that one go offside. Osceola pulls it.
He's been electric, 19 and 10.5 points per game, and Moses playing his best basketball on the road especially.
Interesting little matchup between Castleton at 6'10 and Moses Brown at 7'2. A streak for Coupette to the basket. You may be asking yourself, where's James Akinjo, the MVP of the next up game in the NBA G League? He is not available today. He is out for the Grand Rapids Gold. He's dealing with a little bit of groin tightness. Little corner pocket look for Goodwin as it's tipped all over the place. Coleman Hawkins finally pulls it. Goodwin fights and scores. Good start for Dane Goodwin.
Well, the veteran has really stepped up, the 3-year man out of Notre Dame. He needed some offensive put in with his teammates with a lot of changes, and Dane's done his part over the last 10 games, 20 points a game.
And he has gotten better as the season has gone along, and his opportunities have also gotten better.
Yeah, he didn't start. He came off the bench. He was dynamic off the bench. He and Javante McCoy were the 1-2 punch, but Javante's out with an injury. That's half the bench production not available in this game, so Dane has performed very well.
Quinones with 2 seconds to let it fly. Nearly got it to go. Instead, it's poked out of bounds off of Osceola.
You know, like Dan, you were talking about Castleton and Brown, two NBA veterans. They're both very agile big men. This will be a strong test to see who can get the better between the two tonight.
There's Curtis Jones. Certainly has made an impression here in the G League this season. Won't get that one to fall. And here come the Magic with it. Minaya hands it off, and Morales rolls one over the front. Coupette looks to push. Can Goodwin haul it in? He can, but they'll have to work a different way. How about Moses Brown? He's fouled. Found a mismatch there against Reese Beekman, the 6'3 guard. It's probably a wise business decision if you don't want to end up on a poster.
Yeah, I would think that'd be a very wise decision against Moses. How about Moses? Only 26, but 7 years in the G League. He is the longest active player with the most experience and still a young man.
And it's players like that who you give a lot of credit to for grinding it out the way that he has. Here's Coleman Hawkins. He's in his first year in the NBA G League. Moses Brown gets it on the roll, and Moses Brown puts it down. 6-2, Grand Rapids.
And I like Moses. His numbers get better and better every year. He's played over 150 NBA games, 8 NBA teams, but continues to dominate here in the G League.
Castleton lines and misses. Fun little matchup between those two bigs. Hawkins leaves it for Brown, who lays it in. Beautiful pass from Coleman Hawkins.
You find a lane for yourself, Coleman's going to find a lane for you.
We have seen him with a triple-double here in this building
have.
this season. Not often you see that from a big man. Morales shaves his way, and Castleton kicks it out. Curtis Jones in the goal, looking to start this one with energy. Dane Goodwin already has a couple of buckets, and that one is stripped, but it'll stay with Grand Rapids.
You know what I like about Goodwin's game? He's dynamic from three-point range, 39% career, but he sells that fake, and he's not afraid to go baseline, which I really enjoy, or, take it in the paint. And so you have to respect both parts of his game.
He tried a quick entry pass, but it's taken away. How about Quinones, who fights and has to go to the free throw line to get it? Coupette with a foul.
Such a physical player. Quinones, all-rookie team back in 2022-23 with Santa Cruz. And he was a G League Next Up participant as well in the tournament that Akinjo was the MVP. So we like the cut of his jib.
Shoots one, gets one, takes 2 points with him. Ryan Bowen is the head coach of the Grand Rapids Gold. He's in his first year as a member of the head coaching spot. Of course, longtime assistant with the Denver Nuggets. He's moved his way into the head coaching role here in the G League, as that one goes to Moses Brown off the Osceola miss. Here's a Coupette three. That one won't cooperate, goes back to Osceola. On the other side, Dylan Murphy is the head coach of the Magic. We'll talk about player fluctuation that Ryan Bowen has had to handle this year.
How much time do you have?
His big team has had to deal with their share of injuries, but finally feels like they're starting to get healthy.
Absolutely true. Well, we've had some shakeup in the roster, but things are turning around. We've got 5 new players on the roster since opening night back in early November.
And Curtis Jones, well, he's one of the OGs here this year.
He is.
He knocks that one down. That's his first 3. Good start for Grand Rapids. It's Orlando, their G League team in Osceola, off to a slow start here in Grand Rapids. 6:39 to go, quarter number 1. GR with the early commanding lead, but the G League, we got plenty of time here on NBAGleague.com. I don't think we would expect the Osceola Magic to shoot what they've shot so far throughout the entirety of this game. You don't become 14-4 in the NBA G League without making a few shots. So far, they've missed 9 of their first 10 from the floor. Welcome back. We're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Van Andel Arena is the site. Grand Rapids Gold and the Osceola Magic tonight. Hard to believe that it's been over a month since the Grand Rapids Gold have played a home game. You might be wondering how something like that could happen as a schedule oddity would come together. Castleton gets his first shot to fall.
And it's really par for the course at Van Andel every year. Certain elements line up where Grand Rapids has to have a 6, 7, 8 game road trip this time of the year. And that's usually the pivot point of how this team will go in the regular season.
Right now, Grand Rapids will go as Dane Goodwin goes. That one rolls off the front. Well, you have to respect the game of Disney on Ice, and that's what's been going on here in Grand Rapids inside this building. We've actually got a concert coming up tomorrow night. Whistle and a foul on Grand Rapids. They might challenge this. At least that's what Terrence Hargrove wants them to do.
Well, we've got things like concerts, Disney on Ice. You call the Grand Rapids Rise women's professional volleyball, the Grand Rapids Griffins hockey. You've got numerous other events, especially during the holidays, and we're all balancing this out. And on the other hand, Osceola is in a stretch of 13 home games in their last 16. They're right in the middle of it. And sometimes nothing really makes sense. You just got to ride with it.
They've got a bunch of tour buses outside of the building right now for tomorrow night's concert. 9 Inch Nails.
Is that right? Were you a big fan back in the 90s?
I celebrate their entire collection.
There you go.
Like Michael Bolton.
Is that a big collection? The 9 Inch Nails collection?
Sure.
Dan, in parentheses, off camera, sure. Michael Bolton.
Closer, Hurt, and of course the hit, Something I Can Never Have. You've sung those lyrics verbatim.
Mostly in my car. Yes.
Got a substitution for Grand Rapids. Derek Obede has checked in for the first time. He's one of the newer acquisitions for this Grand Rapids squad. That one rolls off the front from Rashul Diggins, who's also checked in as Grand Rapids dips into its bench here in the back half of quarter number 1.
Yeah, a couple of newbies. Obede traded to Grand Rapids from San Diego in late January. We'll get to Mr. Diggins in a moment.
Justin Manaya will go to the free throw line. Ryan Bowen throws his arms out to his sides. That goes on Obede. It'll be his first.
Yeah, Rashul Diggins started with Maine. He had 12 minutes per game. He was waived in mid-January, acquired in the player pool a week ago by Grand Rapids. Hasn't got a lot of minutes, but what I like about the connection, and I always love finding these things, he went to the same high school as former Grand Rapids Gold players Andrew Funk and Colin Gillespie at Warminster High School in Pennsylvania. So that's, I thought, what's Warminster got going on with their program? That's fantastic.
And that's 2 Gold players who had some real success with this
sure did.
organization. Diggins finding Coleman Hawkins. Been one of the more fun and interesting players to watch as this season's progressed. They'll give him a chance. A corner pocket look for Hargrove. He cashes it. Terrence Hargrove.
Would love to have seen that angle from the corner. Hawkins fired it perpendicular through the lane. What an amazing find by CH.
Off-balance shot that time from Beekman in Grand Rapids. Pulls it down with Hawkins. You have to imagine they might run their offense through a guy like Hawkins, which you don't get very much. As Hargrove had that one stripped. Sort of your point forward in this situation. Throwing it up, throwing it down. It's Wheeler off the bench and off the chain.
Oh, instant offense for Wheeler. 15 of the 40 bench points per game go through Philip Wheeler, and his first basket is razzle-dazzle.
Oh, surprise, surprise. Osceola's right back in it now after the strong start by Grand Rapids. Will Baker, the former LSU Tiger, checks in for the first time. He'll spell Castleton. Jerron Cumberland, the former Cincinnati Bearcat, had some really good years there. And now they've got a chance to tie it up or even get on top. Morales tried a little flash pass. It ends up in the unintended hands of Cumberland, who spins it out. And a fight for the basketball with Obede finally goes to a jump ball. Baker was wondering how long he needed to be tied up before he got that whistle.
Seemed like it took forever, but I like Will Baker. He's in a good situation with the Iowa Wolves last year, only getting 4 or 5 minutes a game, and he's found a nice home, adding some nice height and a good passing ability for Will Baker. 10-6 in 24 minutes a game, so I'm sure he's enjoying it.
Baker v. Hawkins. They're both 6'10". Who do you like in this matchup on the jump?
I tell you what, I'm going to have to give it to...
check it. They're going to go with Obede.
I'm going to have to give it to Obede, I think.
Grand Rapids gets it. And Mike just doubled his money.
Somebody owes me a buck.
You don't want to get bamboozled. I know that much.
You don't. I don't mind the bam, but not the
bamboozled.
Right.
Here's a little look and a tip chance for Obede. Not once, but twice he rims out. Finally taken there. And it's kicked out by Jaden Seymour, who just came in. Another member that was recently acquired. Curtis Jones knocks down that runner. Jaden Seymour from East Tennessee State. He was brought in because Kessler Edwards agreed to a buyout with the Gold. So some reinforcements coming to Grand Rapids over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Seymour is actually his first action in a Gold uniform, so nice for him to get on the board, get some participation here at home.
There's Obede from the elbow. Too strong.
It looks like Obede is comfortable trying the mid-range to lefty, so I don't mind that shot at all.
There's Wheeler, who just had that big one-handed alley-oop flush. Baker against Obede, as Obede holds his ground.
Boy, those are two big bodies. Baker's got some mass, but Obede has some strength and size as well.
Hargrove looks to create. And out of bounds, it stays with Grand Rapids. Timeout on the floor. Well, Grand Rapids is trying to withstand the hard charge of the Magic here on Princess Night in Grand Rapids. 4-point lead for Grand Rapids, NBA G League basketball on NBAGleague.com. Crowd here in Grand Rapids for this one here tonight. Dan Hasty, Mike Coleman with you. NBAGleague.com on YouTube. Chance to check this one out. And so far, I've been able to check out Grand Rapids and Osceola, who I guess are both trying to find a little bit of offensive rhythm here in the early go.
Yeah, Grand Rapids hit a few shots early, or Osceola could hit nothing, but now both teams have cooled off to a very temperate level, and these are two teams that average 120 game, top 10 in the league, so you figure they're going to start at some point.
How about Curtis Jones? He'll get all the opportunity in the world as that one goes out of bounds. Well, what a game he had in his last one. He and Dane Goodwin were a wrecking crew.
They scored 37 and 36 respectively of Grand Rapids' 119 points in that 5-point loss at Westchester. Tough gig, but good effort by those guys.
Now they finally get the comforts of being at home as Baker had that one knocked away. Seymour gets whistled for the foul. But 6 of the next 9 contests going to be here at home.
Yeah, and we needed that too. I was talking with our owner, Steve Jabara, and said would be nice to get a win here to start things off, and it's so good to be home. And I think it's tough enough, like we said, when you're on the road and you have so many changes with the roster, trying to find that rhythm. And there's, you've traveled enough, Dan, in broadcasting. It's hard to find a rhythm on the road with that sort of thing, let alone with changes.
Obede had it and lost it, and Wheeler says, I'll do that cleanup on aisle 23.
That was a good pickup for Osceola because Wheeler played with Maine in the Eastern Conference Finals against Osceola. Must have made an impression because they signed him in the offseason.
Well, interesting you say that. As Coupette gets a whole lot of contact, he'll get a chance at the free throw line.
A former Greensboro Swarm player, tremendous talent. No surprise he was signed, and I'm glad he will be with us because he will be a good shot in the arm for this ball club who has scuffled. Gold have lost 6 of their last 8.
Here's a chance at the top, and knocking it down is Javante Smart.
Oh, he had 20 points in that championship final game against Stockton in a losing effort, but Javante, one of the returning players from that finals team.
Curtis Jones comes up short. They look to move quickly in transition. Wheeler trying to show off his skill set as it rolls around and pops out.
Boy, this is such an active team, Orlando. All these guys seem just incredibly quick and athletic.
Boy, and they don't really mess around with the basketball. They're awfully quick. Obede's not messing around on that, but it comes off the side of the cup.
13-5 run for Osceola.
Javante Smart just hit 1 3. Now he's got another. Gets it to go, and now it's a 4-point lead for the Magic.
Instant offense off the bench, 16.5 for Javante.
Curtis Jones working on Quinones. All kinds of traffic to flip it up, and he'll go to the free throw line. But going back to KJ Simpson,
yes,
actually played in 36 games with the Charlotte Hornets last season and almost started over half of those games. They really gave him a long look, and as they challenge this play, they'll take a second look. He was a second-round draft pick. He had gone through a lot of adversity. Now he finally gets the opportunity, and I mean, it is not easy to play over 50 games in the NBA for anyone in and around that league, but he's already off to a good start in his career. Now he's just hoping to give it a little kickstart here when he gets to Grand Rapids.
Yeah, that's incredible because not only is he part of a franchise in Denver that has relied on their two-way players a lot in the last couple seasons, but with Denver's injuries and such, who knows how many times we will see him. So that'll be interesting, but he'll get his feet wet here, and then as we go to the last part of the NBA calendar, we will see what KJ can do, especially for us. We're excited.
I would imagine the most exciting thing for the Grand Rapids Gold is the fact that the Denver Nuggets are getting healthy.
Yes, yeah, I would say so because Spencer Jones, bless you for getting the NBA contracts. It's fantastic. Deron Holmes, we miss you so much. How electric was the first 7 or 8 games for this club when we started 6-1, and that was it was great talent doing great things, but seasons are long, and necessity called for a lot of changes in the roster, but maybe we'll get a little bit back to homeostasis.
I want to go back to Spencer Jones because he's somebody that we got a really good long look at last season here in Grand Rapids, and now he finally got a chance to update his LinkedIn page. Yes, he actually did that as he was converted from a two-way deal to a standard deal. He's a great personality. You couldn't be happier for someone like Spencer.
Yeah, he's fantastic. The former Stanford Cardinal. You know, he's just such a great athlete, but he's just a better human being, and he brings so much to the table. He's like a Swiss Army knife with defense, and he can shoot the 3 ball. But what I've liked about him with Denver, he never tries to overdo anything. He'll take what the game gives him. He'll shoot 4 times a game or 15 times a game, and you always get a consistent effort from him.
Yeah, just a good team player. You don't end up in a starting lineup in a Western Conference contender unless you know where you're supposed to be. You get to your spots, and most importantly, you can be trusted. Absolutely true.
And really, with all the problems that Denver had with the roster and the injuries, they've been able to maintain their 4th place in the Western Conference, and due to guys like Spencer Jones not letting Denver panic about their situation.
Unsuccessful Osceola challenge as Curtis Jones knocks down the free throw for 2. Javonte Smart already with a couple of threes. This Osceola team has put the ball in the basket as good as anybody in the G League this year. That entry pass denied by Moses Brown. Looks like the last shot here in quarter number 1 will go to the team in navy blue. Curtis Jones, Dane Goodwin with the clock winding down. He sticks it. It gives Grand Rapids the lead just before the horn. Dane is good when the clock ticks down. It's a 1-point Grand Rapids lead. Quarter number 2 is next here in the NBA G League. Well, how about Dane Goodwin giving Grand Rapids a lead just before the end of quarter number 1? It was a quarter that really, Mike Coleman, did not see a lot of shots go down, but if you're Grand Rapids, you'll take them however you can get it.
Yeah, you certainly will. That was the 3rd 3-ball for Grand Rapids in that first quarter, Dane's first, and why not? He's shooting 47% in his last 10 games from beyond the arc.
He's making them from beyond the arc, from within the arc. Doesn't matter for Dane Goodwin these days. Moses Brown has made his fair share of shots, and he makes another one with a friendly members bounce.
You know, Moses is trying to keep up with Goodwin and Jones. He had 37 against Windy City back on the 7th of February, a career high for him. So he has done his part, too, when JR was shorthanded.
Little slip and move from Baker. Got it blocked by Coupette. Time still ticking down for the Magic as Baker is wide. Dane Goodwin, they are running a lot more of their offense through him. Same goes for Moses Brown. He'll go to the free throw line.
You know, on that other end, Dan, that was great defense. Coupette helped out with Moses on the downside, and they forced Baker to take a bad shot. You'll take that, even though he is 6-7 feet away. It was not a good shot by Baker, and if you're Ryan Bowen, those are the kind of defensive stops you need against this type of team.
One free throw for Moses Brown. And here comes Osceola. Great play in the corner. Did Mania save it? No, not quite. Had a foot on the line. It was that pivot that Ross Geller is always talking about. They get a whistle, and they're going to get more than that. Basket counts.
That's right.
And will there be more? Will we get a basket?
Basket's good.
Yes, and it's an and one for Dane Goodwin.
I thought originally it might have been a goaltending call with a swat against the backboard, but evidently not. Did they call that on Baker?
It's a goaltend and it's a foul.
Is that right?
So it's a 3-point opportunity for Goodwin.
You don't see that too often.
It's not exactly one he'll put on the highlight reel.
No.
But it counts all the same. Well, Goodwin almost drew an offensive foul that time. Went down, but he's back up in a hurry. Quinones with a rack attack to lay it in.
How about that first step? My goodness.
Goodwin already looking to add to his total, and he'll have to add it at the free throw strike.
I don't remember Dane being this aggressive going to the hole. He's really added that to his repertoire. He's a good free throw shooter. I think it's very smart of him to do that.
Well, you don't go score 35, 36, 37 points by just doing it the same way. And it's fun for Dane, and it's fun for us to watch, because earlier in the season, we saw him as much more of a role player early on, kind of sticking with that three-point shot that essentially is his bread and butter that got him here to the NBA G League. But now we're getting a chance to see what else is in his bag. Quinones, too strong. Little hot potato before Coleman Hawkins snares it.
And to your point, he's been relied on to be productive offensively. Early on, it was a way for him just to add on off the bench, but he's been a vital part of this offense.
It's a very different looking team than it was earlier this season. For now, we could see some of the elements start to come back into the fold, hopefully in the next days and weeks. Ben Coupette with two hands, the flush.
Nice play by the veteran. Really adding a little bit more offense as he gets comfortable in a gold uniform, coming off a 9-point performance in the loss on Thursday. We saw a lot of him in the Eastern Conference.
Substitution. Rasul Diggins is back in for the Gold. He'll spell Goodwin. Gold are without a couple of their pieces for this one today. James Akinjo look inside, and they had to tie up Baker to deny the alley-oop. James Akinjo out with a groin injury, and Javante McCoy is out with a right knee.
You know, a little bit concerning about Javante. He's just been so consistent off the bench, half of the bench points coming in this year for his production, but he had a severe knee injury last year and having some issues with that knee, so he's not available tonight. I hope it's nothing long-term, because he's having his best season in a G League uniform.
There's two for Baker. Well, the second quarter kind of starting like the first quarter did. Grand Rapids getting a little momentum early, but the question will be, can they maintain it? Quinones dances one to the corner, open and burying it. Osceola's Javante Smart. Good start for Smart. Other side, Moses Brown. Oh, put it on the board. Well, that's what happens when you beat the other team back on the defensive pursuit. Maybe you got tired of dealing with Baker on that other side.
Probably.
How about Smart? Is there four? Yes, there is. My goodness, Javante Smart.
Yeah, he's been 49% in his last 5 games from 3.
It certainly looks like it here, as Moses Brown can't get it to fall. Baker adjusted that shot. Nice little around the world move there. He runs the offense, and it's a blocking foul on Grand Rapids.
How about that Euro step by Baker and the no-look single left arm pass to the corner from a big?
You knew he was going to the basket as soon as he went behind the back on the floor.
I don't know about
You're not
the
slowing
foul.
down this freight train.
No. Amazing that Curtis took that. He got the foul. He got the worst of everything, but Will Baker is a load.
I believe they have a chalk outline of Curtis Jones under the basket. He's a tough kid. Grand Rapids by 2.
Almost knocked the bandage off his right knee. Curtis Jones is dangling from his right leg.
Smart. Kicks for a corner look. And sending it through is Wheeler. A little inside-outside from Philip Wheeler.
Yeah, Wheeler does everything. He's great from the outside, physical inside.
Osceola's back on top. Jones to Seymour. Left it short. That was Seymour's first shot attempt in the NBA G League. Minaya steps through him and scores. And a timeout for Grand Rapids and Ryan Bowen. Good start to the second quarter for Grand Rapids, but here comes the NBA's top team here in the G League. It's the Magic by 3 here on NBAGleague.com. Osceola on a 13-2 run over the last minute 43. They've kind of found their offense in spurts throughout the course of the first half here in Grand Rapids. It's a 3-point Magic lead. Dan Hasty and Mike Coleman with you from a well-attended Grand Rapids, Michigan Van Andel Arena here tonight, where Grand Rapids and the Gold finally get a little home cooking after being on the road for more than a month. Derek Obede is back in for Grand Rapids. That one gets tipped out of bounds, and it'll stay. No, it'll go with Osceola instead.
You know, it's a matter of time before Osceola, just such a consistent, good shooting team, found some rhythm. But 23 of the 35 points have come off the bench for head coach Dylan Murphy.
They sort of just had to found and get who was going to get hot. That was the big question for Osceola. Good takeaway there by Diggins. Finds Goodwin. Had to work hard to find him, and he makes him pay off. Great play by Diggins, and it leads to a bucket for Dane Goodwin. Here's a look, and all the way to the basket, drawing a little contact is Osceola. I think Wheeler took a shot that time. It looks like he took the worst of it.
Yeah, looks like he got hit in the upper extremity as Obede laid the hammer on him. Nothing malicious. He was just going towards the rim, and Wheeler's up and all right, I think.
Who's the player between these two teams that you'd least like to get run over by?
I would say Obede would be one. Will Baker would be right up there, too.
I think Curtis Jones would agree with you.
Curtis Jones concurs to that. And, you know, Castleton, he's not a bulky kid, but he's big, and I think his momentum, he's got good speed. He would cause problems, too.
And he causes an offensive rebound. Wheeler slices for two.
No permanent damage, of course, but
right now the permanent damage is a 3-point lead for Osceola. Curtis Jones trying to get his rhythm in this second quarter. A little too strong.
And I think if you're Grand Rapids, you're going to need a big game by Curtis Jones. Grand Rapids is missing 25% of their offense due to injuries coming into this one.
Morales is back in for the Magic. Look at the spin, the dish, and Castleton will have to take it at the free throw line. It's kind of physical out there right now in this first half.
It is physical. You know what I noticed too, Dan? Most of the really top-tier teams in the G League have that extra physical attribute to their game. Quick, good shooters, all that, of course, but the physicality, I think, is what can really separate teams, and Osceola has it.
Make some noise for Rasul Diggins.
Rasul Diggins comes out.
Here's something for you, Dan. Colin Castleton was with Osceola last year, and he got called up by the Toronto Raptors to a 10-day contract. He did not get a chance to play in the G League Finals. So what a nice decision to have. Play in the G League Finals, win a ring, or get called up to the big.
Curtis Jones left it short, but Obede sweeps it in. We're going back to Castleton. The Lakers, the Memphis Grizzlies, the aforementioned Raptors, and last time the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, dabbled a little bit with the University of Michigan as well before Florida, so a lot of Wolverines represented in pro ball. He's one of them.
Curtis Jones is 2 for his first 9. Terrence Hargrove finds a little room. Boy, that looked like it might have been on the rim still, but out of bounds. It goes to Osceola anyway.
I like Obede's aggressiveness on the offensive rebound tries. He'll get a breather, but came up empty.
Moses Brown is back for seasons at Michigan before his time at Florida.
Yeah, incredible. Like a lot of Wolverines, and took his talents down to the Sunshine State, but just a solid ball player.
He's actually a native of Pembroke Pines. I believe that's where Curtis Jones just shot that 3 from, and we're tied at 39.
On the outskirts of Pembroke Pines.
That's the shot Curtis Jones can hit. He's in double figures with 10. Javante Smart has already got 4 threes, and there's his first one from inside the arc.
Oh, pretty play. A little Euro, split the defense, and Javante, with those long arms, kept it up for a good score.
Goodwin, Jones going through the contact. Wow, I don't know how he kept the body control to keep that going. Moses Brown working on Castleton. Rattles it through. Moses Brown.
I like how Moses goes with the opposite hand a lot, especially that little push shot from 5-6 feet. Trademark.
Castleton navigates with a little kiss off the rim. Well, now these offenses starting to finally gather some rhythm. There's a little bumper car move from Dane Goodwin as he draws a foul.
Nice start for the backcourt tandem. Dane and Curtis have combined for 24 of the Gold 41, just like they did Thursday at Westchester.
I guess we shouldn't be surprised based on what happened in their last game.
No, both teams, how about this, Dan? Both teams shooting 8 of 15 in the second half, so to your point, heating up indeed.
Rasul Diggins is back for Grand Rapids. See if he gets a little help from Moses Brown. Has some room, a long rebound though. How about Goodwin just inside the line, and he hits. Dane Goodwin scores. And right now, Goodwin and Jones are keeping their team in it.
Sure are. 3 in double figures for GR. Moses Brown in the double-digit effort as well.
Brown's been good so far as well. Morales dumps it off, and Castleton is denied by Moses Brown. Meanwhile, the kickball's keeping it with Osceola. Look at this fight at the hoop.
Boy, 2 items on that play. I cannot believe how Morales found Castleton, and then the rejection, all in a span of about a 3-foot radius.
Castleton has some room. His shot is pure. Colin Castleton showing off his range. Now it's time for Coleman Hawkins. So we get a foul on Castleton away from the basketball.
Boy, Castleton getting verbal too, shouting defensive instructions, and now giving the referee an earful as well.
Number 3, Colin Castleton.
So Castleton picks up the foul, and Grand Rapids will pick up a possession on the other side of this timeout. 3-point Osceola lead here in Grand Rapids. Well, if Grand Rapids wants to get back on track, especially on their home floor, what a good opportunity for them to do it against the team with the best record in the NBA G League's regular season. 3-point Osceola Magic lead here in Grand Rapids. Dan Hasty, Mike Coleman with you. Moses Brown at the free throw line for the Gold. You're talking about Moses Brown. You know, for all the changes that we've seen in the starting lineup over the course of the season, one of the players that has been consistently in that starting five the entire year has been Big Brown.
Yeah, it's been great. One of the best pickups in the offseason for any G League team. In another example of it, a guy who really took it to Grand Rapids in the Showcase Cup Tournament Finals when he had 26 rebounds for Westchester. And Grand Rapids said, well, if I can't beat him, I'm going to have him join us, and that's exactly what they did.
He's got 12 and 5 rebounds. Dane Goodwin leads all scorers with 16. How about Beekman? He walked with it. That's a turnover.
Yeah, Beekman having a tough start, former Westchester Nick. He's only one of two players that have not scored a point tonight for Dylan Murphy's Magic.
He's had an interesting year. He's averaging 12 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, and a couple of steals. So he's been everything you want out of your starting point guard.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Coleman Hawkins of Osceola. Does a lot of things well. A little tug on the jersey of Moses Brown by Castleton.
I'll stay with the goal. Moses Brown thought he was fouled that time. Didn't get it.
Moses is not pleased.
You don't want to make him angry. You would not like him when he's angry. Dane Goodwin. He's already on one to start off this first half with 16 points in the first 2 quarters. That one rims out.
See, that's the Dane Goodwin maybe in the first month of the season wouldn't manufacture a type of shot like that, but he set it up all on his own. It was a good look.
Quinones, a good look of his own, a triple.
Wow, 40% from deep. He's volume. He averages over 10 three-point attempts a game.
Coleman Hawkins finding Grand Rapids' corner pocket. Goodwin rolls one over. Castleton to the corner. Quinones, another chance. Too strong, a lot of contact, no whistle. Quinones gets another chance, and he sticks it. Lester Quinones, a 7-point Osceola lead.
Wow, 6 for their last 10 now. Osceola from deep. That just wears you down 3 after 3 after 3.
There's a giveaway. Hawkins tried to go to Brown. Other side, Morales leaves it, laying it up and in. Manaya. And it's a 9-point Magic lead as they have sprinted towards the finish here in the first half.
Yeah, tough gig. 17-6 run by the Magic over the last 3 minutes have created this separation.
Timeout on the floor. Final minute when we come back here in the NBA G League. Grand Rapids trying to find a little bit of offense before they go into the locker room. Final minute here in half number 1. A 9-point Osceola lead. We're planning on chatting with one of the assistant coaches of the Grand Rapids Gold in just a moment. It's Curtis Jones had that one knocked away. Morales navigates as Ferguson. Check that, Hargrove with a goaltend, and it looks like Diggins is hurt.
Yeah, he took it up top, and I think Canota's trying to console him, saying, I'm sorry about that. Nothing intentional, of course, but just a fast-paced play.
So it's a goaltend, and now it's a double-digit lead for the first time tonight for Osceola.
Yeah, 10-0 run, too, by Osceola in this last 90 seconds. Something Grand Rapids did not want, for sure.
Boy, when they punch quick.
They punch hard.
You see the defensive pressure Morales is applying. Now a foul called on the aforementioned Morales.
And you know what I like about Osceola? They meet you right at the summit at the half-court line. They are physical on the wings, top side. They really make you work to get the ball down low.
Fouls on number 2, Morales. That's his second.
Morales was up with Orlando earlier in the week. I was surprised to see him, but I'm sure Osceola loving that.
Shooting 1, worth 2 is Curtis Jones.
Curtis, a great free throw shooter.
He's not appeared in a game as of yet, but of course he's been back and forth throughout the course of the year.
Right.
About 3 seconds between the game and shot clock. Looking to extend a double-digit lead. Quinones running out of time. He sticks it. 5 seconds, not much time to work with. Curtis Jones through all kinds of traffic off the side of the rim, and that's how he finished half number 1. Boy, what a big finish to the first half here in Grand Rapids. Final 10 points scored in the final 112. All from Osceola. They've got themselves a 13-point lead. Well, it looked for a while like they just couldn't find their offensive rhythm, but they made adjustments.
They did. Grand Rapids had some early shots. Osceola, I mean, not a great defensive team, and on the top 5 numbers-wise, but just steadying up to rattle Grand Rapids in the backcourt. Then they started heating things up, and what you don't want from a team like Osceola is the big run. 10-0 in this type of offensive game is a big run.
In that first half, it was Grand Rapids that actually got off to a really nice start shooting the basketball. That sort of dipped down a little bit in the second half. Meanwhile, Osceola's up to 44%. Remember when they started one of
Osceola's offense going in that first half?
After that 1 out of 10 start, how about 19 for 35, well over 50%. That has been Osceola throughout the course of this NBA G League regular season. We'll step aside, take a timeout. When we come back, we'll give you some more numbers from half number 1. back here in Grand Rapids. It is all Osceola after a dynamite second quarter. It was actually Grand Rapids that held a 1-point lead after the first 12 minutes, but Dan Hasty, Mike Coleman, MC, it was all Osceola in that second.
Yeah, like we talked about, the bench really propelled Osceola in the first half. It's one of the top bench-producing teams in the G League, and conversely, Grand Rapids has not had an answer from their bench, relying on the starters, and 3 of the 5 starters for Grand Rapids have been productive, but Coleman Hawkins without a point today. He's done a lot of things well, scoring not so much, but the balance, my goodness, the balance for Osceola, they just wear you down, and they hit 6 to 11 3 balls in that second quarter to really give them some separation.
Meanwhile, in that last game for Grand Rapids, it kind of looked in some ways like it's looking right now. A couple of players off to some really good starts. They just need a little bit more help.
Yeah, they really do. They're not shooting great, just 38% in the game, and you can't beat teams like the Magic with that type of performance. So you never know when a guy's going to heat up, but you know, you're without Javante McCoy, you've got James Akinjo on the shelf with a groin issue, and that really makes it much more difficult. But teams, it's always next man up. You got to find a way to get over and be productive. We'll see what kind of strategery Ryan Bowen draws up.
How about the bench points from Osceola in that first half? They outscored the bench of the goal 27-5.
Yeah, Javante Smart, he's a guy who could easily start, and he does occasionally, but how to have a weapon like that off the bench if you're Dylan Murphy. He had 2 quick 3-pointers to really pace things. You've got 2 in double figures off the bench for Osceola. Philip Wheeler kicking in with 11 in limited minutes. So those 2 players are tremendous.
I really liked watching Wheeler. I was also curious to see what Colin Castleton was going to look like. He kind of got off to a slow start, but he already almost has a double-double. I guess he found his rhythm.
Yeah, he's doing well against Moses Brown. Usually Moses imposes his will, but Castleton giving him a battle. Similar frames, similar styles of basketball. They got that nice one-handed shot working down low. And Castleton, just another layer of that really good magic onion.
So it's Grand Rapids trailing by 13 against this Osceola Magic squad. We'll see if Grand Rapids can find their way to tighten this up, make this a ball game again. They'll send Moses Brown, also Derek Obede. I've liked watching him on the floor so far. We haven't seen him in person.
No, we're seeing a lot of new looks, but Obede got some of the best minutes off the bench. He's physical, he's big, he's got experience, and he's not afraid. We talked about his mid-range shot looks really good. He just hasn't had much to fall, but I can see him getting more extended minutes as he gets comfortable with his new ball club.
He's one of the new players on this Grand Rapids Gold team. They've also picked up the likes of Rasul Diggins from the player pool, Jaden Seymour, who's actually starting in his first game here in the NBA G League. So you know the Butterflies have to be big for him tonight.
Oh, absolutely true. When you have 5 new bodies on your roster, it takes a little bit time to gel. You don't have training camp to get things ironed out. You have to hit the ground running. And we've got a plethora of home games coming up and still 15 games left in the season. Grand Rapids still only 4 games out of a playoff spot, so we still have some opportunities.
There's still a lot of spots to be had for that NBA G League playoff. We've already seen Grand Rapids get their way into the tip-off tournament. That was after a very successful start to the season. And now they're hoping they can find a little late season magic. Dane Goodwin, outstanding first half for him. 16 points, that still leads all scorers. They'd love to get Coleman Hawkins going. See if he can help out some of the big 3 as a foul, no, a travel. Coleman Hawkins turns it over.
Well, I think Coleman Hawkins feeling the effects of the first half, trying to make something happen offensively. You can't fault the effort, but a turnover number 7 for Grand Rapids, first one of the second half.
Well, it's been the starting 5 that's actually held their own quite nicely on the Grand Rapids side. It's been the bench where they've seen the biggest difference in this ball game. Quinones, little catch and shoot corner pocket action. And the first basket of the second half is a 3 for Osceola.
And that's all set up by Castleton. He did the 180, nowhere to go, and he somehow found his teammate in the corner. Excellent vision by a big.
Inside, they had to foul Moses Brown to stop him. It's another Castleton foul. That'll be his 3rd.
Yeah, Moses, 12 points in the first half. That was a very quiet 12 points, if you ask me, by Moses. Very practical 5 of 8 with 5 rebounds, but would love to see some more activity down low. Moses using that experience.
They sent him to the line more than anybody else on the Grand Rapids Gold, so perhaps forcing him to earn it. There's a look at Justin Minaya. Gets past a couple, and did he lay it in? They said.
Oh, they're going to call it on Moses Brown.
They did, but they're trying to see if the basket counts.
I thought maybe Ben Coupette might have had his hand in there as well. But Moses now with just his first foul, so not in any danger.
I think Moses kind of bent his hand in a funny way that time, kind of still shaking it out. They did not award the basket, but he got the free throw away.
You can definitely feel we missed Moses for about 2 or 3 games earlier in December or early January with an ankle injury. And he is the straw that stirs the drink for this team.
Curtis Jones saves that for Dane Goodwin. Steps around, throws it inside. Moses Brown over the top for the rebound. Can't get it to fall, and it goes back to Osceola.
Oh, Moses complaining he got fouled. How about 10 offensive rebounds in Thursday night's loss at Westchester? He averages over 4 offensive rebounds. In my opinion, offensive rebounds are a matter of will, and Moses has it.
Well, and that's the thing. When you're talking about a guy who's 7'2", 260 pounds, contact against him does not look like contact against other players.
No, it's simple physics. And
there's Moses Brown being called for a foul that he's not going to be too happy with.
No, 2 and 30 seconds does not add up nicely for Grand Rapids early on. We're not even 2 minutes into the third quarter. But you know, you look at bigs, Justin Hamilton, he was traded to Wisconsin. He's a 6'11" frame, no longer with the team. So this team, from a height standpoint, got a little smaller, even though Obede is 6'9" and very physical. Hamilton gave you some depth down low, but not as much now.
Hamilton had some nice games as a member of the Gold.
He did. I was a little surprised they moved him, and I'm not sure if it was a chemistry thing, trying to find him a home, but he had a really good stretch in January where he had some double-figure games, and a little surprised by that move.
One of the things I will say, and I give a lot of credit to the Denver Nuggets front office, we've had a chance to get to know some of the decision makers when it comes to the NBA G League, as we get a whistle and looks like a foul on Grand Rapids. It is. Especially with players that are new to the league or perhaps coming in off the player pool, maybe not so much with the two-way players, because that's, of course, a decision that gets made at the top. But they also make it a point to try and do right by these players.
Absolutely true. And, you know, Justin, he's a great player. And having him go to Wisconsin or Kessler Edwards, you know, a NBA veteran bought out his contract, and he's going to take his talents to Israel. They take care of these guys for sure.
Morales takes care of that three. And now the lead is expanded to 21 for the Osceola Magic. Big lead, Grand Rapids trying to find their way out of a big hole here in GR. Well, how about the job the Osceola Magic have done since the end of the first quarter? They started shooting 1 of 10 from the floor, and since that time, they are 21 of 36. They are killing it right now, and that's what's helped build them a 21-point advantage on the road in Grand Rapids. And when you have the kind of success that Osceola has had this year, it really doesn't matter if you're at home or if you're not.
No, they're an excellent road team, to your point. Now that you mentioned that, Dan, 12-7 on the road. They've won 5 of their last 7 away from the Sunshine State.
Justin Minaya gets called for the foul. That's his first.
It is fun to see a good team when we call, obviously, just home games, but you know, you see some upper echelon teams in this league and seeking their 3rd trip to the playoffs in a row, 6 times in their 9-year history that they will make the playoffs. And that doesn't always translate to the NBA level, but Osceola certainly has made their mark in the G League year after year.
If you remember, it was actually when they were the Lakeland Magic that they won the 2021 NBA G League championship. That was under Stan Heath, who's now currently serving as the head coach at Eastern Michigan University.
Is that right? That's great stuff.
Native of Detroit. Propelled himself back into the college game after that success in this league. Morales, little catch and shoot action. He is pure. Well, they are getting comfortable here as Coupette tries to put it down to Moses Brown. Fights his way and stepped out of bounds with it.
Tough break. The only saving grace not coming back tonight. If that is the case, these two teams will go at it Monday. It's hard to win 2 straight against each other, but boy, Osceola is as good as advertised.
The big reason why is Colin Castleton got his own offensive rebound and cleans it up.
Yeah, averaging a double-double this year, 20 and a half and 10 rebounds. Rebounds leads his team. How about 22 double-doubles in his 59 career games?
They'll try and feed it through Moses Brown, who gets that one to fall. That's a much-needed bucket for Grand Rapids.
It really is. You know, like we always say, no lead is safe, no deficit insurmountable, but Grand Rapids with a mountain to climb for sure.
This is a Osceola team that actually started out as the Erie Bayhawks out of Erie, Pennsylvania. And then, ironically, if you're a baseball fan, the move from Erie to Lakeland is very poetic for Detroit Tigers fans, who, of course, are here in this state because 2 of their minor league affiliates are in that conversation. Erie is where their AA team is located. Lakeland is where their low Class A team is at. So they moved there in 2018. And then off to Kissimmee a couple of years ago. That's where they've been ever since.
Yeah, they were successful in Erie. They made the playoffs in 3 of the 8 years they were in existence in Pennsylvania. When they hit the ground running in Lakeland, my goodness, I believe they had 4 straight years in the playoffs. They won the championship like you alluded to, Dan, and then Osceola has taken over. He talked about the finals last year losing to Stockton, but the year before they lost in the semis to Long Island. So no stranger to playoff performances. It's been a great franchise, one of the most winningest franchises in the G League.
They went through Erie, Santa Cruz, and Delaware because there was an Erie still in the league.
That's right.
When they left Erie.
That was hard to, I remember that. That was hard to keep track of for sure.
Little G League musical chairs. Oh, Bede. Too strong. Goodwin. Didn't have anyone to save it to. That one's a little too long for Morales.
And the other Erie team that you talk about, Dan, they ended up being the College Park Skyhawks, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. Good pass. Obede puts it through. And it was last year where Osceola had another really good year, 22-12. Beat Indiana, then Maine, and made it a really good series against the Stockton Kings, who ended up taking the G League title last season. Beautiful move there from Quinones. Gold will try to beat him back defensively, and they do with Coleman Hawkins.
And you talked about Indiana, and you talked about Maine. Those are perennial playoffs teams, too. There's always 6 or 7 teams that just seem to show up every year. Rio Grande Valley is another one. among the teams we mentioned.
Jones, little hezzy move. Tap pass. Hargrove almost banked it in. How about an offensive rebound? Obede can't cash it. Hawkins stepping out. Second chance, third chance. Goes outside the cup as Quinones cannot connect.
Yeah, tough sledding shooting for Grand Rapids. They've been crashing the offensive boards. Their second chance opportunities have been there, just have not been able to cash in.
Ahead it goes Morales. A little too strong. Caught it in a funny spot. It was going to be tough to finish that one.
A little underneath the basket there for Alex. Or for Lester, excuse me.
Hawkins will try another three. That low line drive spins out. Well, meanwhile, you've got the Orlando Magic, the parent club of this Osceola squad. As Curtis Jones tries to feed it inside, and Hargrove will have to get it at the line. They're coming off a loss in their last contest. They actually are 29-26. They went to double overtime against the Phoenix Suns. That was earlier today.
Oh, that was a 5 o'clock start. That's right.
113-110 in double overtime.
But I feel like this is the most serious set of
You know, Orlando, quite frankly, having one of their better seasons in recent memory. I can never remember how many NBA teams qualified for the playoffs, but Orlando's 7th in the Eastern Conference with that 29-26.
That would put them in the play-in.
Okay.
So 7 through 10 going that first round play-in. And right now, depending on who gets that 7 or 8 seed, they're looking at a first round 8 likely with the Detroit Pistons.
How about that's another story in and of itself. Pistons, even with some roster moves, continue to win. 8-2 in their last 10. Grand Rapids Gold used to be the Grand Rapids Drive, which were affiliated with the Pistons, and the Grand Rapids Drive went to the playoffs a couple years underneath that Piston umbrella. Always a good franchise at the Deltaplex. But did you see what Denver did last night? They took care of business against Portland in a big way.
You know, it's no surprise you're getting all those pieces back, and that's kind of the real trick of everything. But 157-103, the final for the Denver Nuggets. 157 points.
You can solve a lot of woes with production like that. They had great three-point shooting. I think they made 23 triples if memory serves.
They shot 57% on nearly 100 shots.
Incredible.
Nikola Jokic, 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists in just 29 minutes.
Yeah, that's a
half a game.
That is a half a game. Now, let me ask you this. With all the woes and challenges that Denver's had, that they find themselves in third place, I think that surprises a lot of people.
I think we've also done a lot of talking about Spencer Jones, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that he got his first NBA double-double last night.
Is that right? I did not see that.
10 points, 10 rebounds for Spencer Jones.
Practical Spencer Jones. How about that?
And like so many of his teammates, he shot the ball well, if you can believe that. 4 out of 6. Christian Braun is now back for Denver. That's a big addition. And again, it does not matter when you get those pieces back. It's that you get them back at all. It's a foul on Osceola.
Yeah, that's
on Wheeler.
That's true, Dan, because you've got such an arduous playoff run if you make the playoffs. And, you know, a lot of times we've seen that in the G League. Sometimes the best record doesn't dictate you make it to the finals. All you got to do is get there. You get guys healthy, and you can make a nice run. And still plenty of time for Denver to get those pieces back.
Also should give some props to Deron Holmes, who we got a chance to get a good look at during his time with the Grand Rapids Gold. He's been in 16 games for the Nuggets this year, averaging 4 points, 2 rebounds, but more impressively, that one's a turnover on Osceola, and it comes back. He's actually shot it at a 46% clip, at 41% from beyond the three-point line. Those are good signs.
Yeah, that's great signs. And when we saw him, I know the first couple games, Dan, you can attest to this, we thought to ourselves, how long are we going to have Deron Holmes around? A two-way player, missed last year with that Achilles injury in his first 8 minutes in Summer League. and he came out so strong, went big minutes, just did everything expected of him, and having a good time with Denver.
Well, he got a big opportunity now that some of the more notable hands are back on deck. Hargrove is going to the line. It's a three-point try that goes off target, so one free throw for 3 points for Terrence Hargrove.
Yeah, Terrence has done really well. Half the games really in this regular season he has started, and he's averaged over 11 points a game as a starter. Coming off the bench today.
You know, one of my favorite games this season, and we were fortunate enough to have a game right after it happened, was that game where Denver beat the Philadelphia 76ers on the road in their building in overtime with essentially a starting five that was here in Grand Rapids just weeks earlier.
Yes. Yeah, that was great. Boy, knowing you can hang with that type of situation, that was fun.
Good win. Cuts through, and he'll go to the line instead.
You know, you look at guys who've been there a couple years now. Hunter Tyson, Jalen Pickett was a starter for several weeks, and vital contributors. And all these gold players making their mark with these big clubs. It's fun to track them down and keep track of them.
It feels like the continuity has been really, really good over the last couple of seasons with Denver. So even if they're going to lose some games played due to injuries throughout their lineup, it does feel like they're a team that can hit the ground running once they get their guys back.
Yeah, it's all chemistry, it's coaching. Can the team get along? Do they have that continuity? There's a lot of factors that go in.
And despite all of those challenges, still 15 games over 500 behind only Oklahoma City and San Antonio in the Western Conference.
Yeah, that's one of the better stories in the NBA. The fact that they have maintained, they didn't lose 8 out of 10. They hung tough. They played over 500.
That is a product of player development. Speaking of player development, Curtis Jones is back in for Grand Rapids. Fun to watch him get some of those opportunities with the big club.
Yeah, I remember his first basket came in his third or fourth game, and that's always a big moment, I'm sure, in a young person's career.
Shot clock winding down. Morales can't put it through. Wheeler got it blocked by Obede. Always becomes an interesting question as to what teams look to get from some of their young players, whether is it more worthwhile to get them for that potential need to come in at the end of a bench. Nice little move there for Diggins to score. Or do you play him for 30, 35 minutes in a place like here in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, different teams have different philosophies, and sometimes things work out due to necessity, and if you have the ability to do what you want with a player.
Finally got that one to go.
Boy, he was a freight train. Hargrove now with 5. Really covered some floor, former St. Louis University product.
We got a technical foul called. That's on Coleman Hawkins. Had a little something to say after that dunk by Hargrove. So Javonte Smart will happily take the point.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his beef was. It was away from the ball for sure.
Check it out. Make some noise for Coleman Hawkins.
So Hawkins takes his seat. Well, Grand Rapids has played a little bit better here as this third rebound for Seymour. Jones looking for Obede.
And you know Seymour, a guy like Seymour, first game as a pro, he'll settle in and he'll close things out. He'll get more comfortable.
He did a nice job at East Tennessee State University.
Yeah, I like seeing
an offensive foul on Osceola.
I like seeing the smaller schools get involved. We see the occasional D3, a lot of D2, NAIA, things like that. Kyle Mangus rings a bell when I think of NAIA school.
Yep.
But, you know, the smaller D1s, these teams that don't really get a lot of clippings, and any different player can make an impact in the G League.
That one hits the floor, and it comes out Seymour for Diggins. Now Grand Rapids can't find one. Quinones, uncontested. Lester Quinones with the dunk heard around Grand Rapids. Other side, Hargrove can't make it fall.
Boy, how fun is this Osceola team, Dan Hasty?
They have been on point after what was a bit of a slow start. If you're just joining us, they missed 9 out of their first 10 shots. Brown gives it up, and Cumberland puts it through. And all Ryan Bowen, the head coach of the Grand Rapids Gold, could do is just throw his arms out at his side. Timeout, GR. It's all Osceola here as we go down the stretch of quarter number 3 in the NBA G League. Almost through 3 quarters in Grand Rapids as the Osceola Magic have had all kinds of fun here in NBA G League action. Grand Rapids trying to find a little bit of rhythm. It's been a slow regular season starting out for them. Not for Osceola, though. They're 14-5 as Moses Brown pulls down an offensive rebound. Little hook shot as that one spins all over and in the cylinder were the Grand Rapids Gold. I think that was Moses Brown. That'll wipe away the basket.
4th time's a charmer, but you're talking about Osceola being in first place. There are 3 other teams within a game of Osceola, so that is going to be a sprint to the finish in that Eastern Conference.
So there's a story on ESPN.com. They did an NBA MVP straw poll. And of course, when you're thinking about NBA MVP, it's hard not to think about Nikola Jokic, who, of course, is very near and dear to us as a member of the parent club for the Grand Rapids Gold, the Denver Nuggets. And he, of course, is in that conversation. There's N1 for Quinones. Strong take, and they'll have a chance to make it 3. So right now, the straw poll has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who of course led the Oklahoma City Thunder to the NBA championship last year. We'll take an extra look at this as the presumptive current MVP if the season were to end today. But Nikola Jokic is not that far off. He sits fairly close to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but the big question for Jokic is, will he play enough games to qualify? He needs 65. He would have to play in essentially every game the rest of the season.
And the question is, how many games other than injury does Jokic miss on a yearly basis? He's quite the workhorse. I don't know if you would want to play him for that factor alone. I think the only saving grace is the fact that you would have some rest theoretically because you were down with an injury for 4 weeks. But unless they absolutely need him, I don't know.
I don't think we appreciate just the simple trip to his player page on Basketball Reference to see what kind of numbers he's put up.
Yeah, it's fantasy league numbers for sure, or the amount of production and the amount of minutes and what he brings to the table.
The other players that are sitting in that top 5 conversation beyond SGA and Jokic, number 3 is Cade Cunningham.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had an unbelievable performance at Madison Square Garden the other night as the Pistons chopped down the New York Knicks for the 3rd time this season. It's almost like they took that playoff disappointment a little personal.
I think they did, especially Cade, I would imagine. But no surprise. I figured he would be in the top 7 or 8 for sure, but good for Cade.
Cunningham averaging 26, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists. The next is Victor Wembanyama, and if you watch the NBA All-Star game, you saw how easy he makes the game look just based on his sheer size alone.
Yeah, amazing. What is it? Does he go 7'6"? He's 7'5", but it doesn't matter. It's all relative. Yep, he is a towering, productive giant. What is he in his third year?
Third season and just 22.
Okay.
And then Luka Doncic sits at number 5.
It's a nice group to choose from. I'd hate to make that choice.
Saw a lot of those names in the NBA All-Star game, which the MVP was taken by Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Curtis Jones hoping he can be playing in that league with Anthony Edwards sooner than later. He hits.
And I think Anthony Edwards would be worth a conversation, and I think the only thing that Edwards needs is a little bit more in the rebounding and assist department. No doubt about it, he can score. That's just one man's opinion.
Final seconds in quarter number 3. Baker lays one over Moses Brown. Last handful of NBA drafts, if you had the number 1 pick, you ended up with a franchise player. Time running out, Moses Brown hits it with under a second to go. Now the Magic, they're the pace car here in Grand Rapids. They've got a big lead as we head to quarter number 4. Talk a little bit more about the NBA when we come back as we cover the NBA G League. The Magic with a 23-point advantage over Grand Rapids. We're talking about the NBA draft. 23-point Osceola lead as we get into quarter number 4. Of course, like so many other sports, the draft not an exact science, but over the last couple of years, as a fight for the basketball is taken by Moses Brown. If you had the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, there's Hargrove getting vertical. Terrence Hargrove. You drafted arguably a franchise player, maybe not even arguably. Get this, Mike Coleman, in 2019 through 2023, here are the orders of the number 1 overall picks in those drafts.
Lay it on me.
Zion Williamson, Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, Paolo Banchero, Victor Wembanyama. And I got a feeling the parent club of the Osceola Magic are quite happy with that first overall selection, specifically in Banchero.
How about that? That's hitting the nail on the head.
Goodwin stepping out. Couldn't get the members bounce. Out of bounds, it stays with the gold.
You know, that leads to a whole different discussion. I don't know if we've talked about this before. Dan, you and I have some baseball broadcast history together. What is the most lockdown draft in any profession as far as getting what you wanted and the toughest one to gauge who's going to be good.
Moses Brown, he's going to be good.
Yeah, he's good.
He's been good tonight. He's got a double-double. 20 points, 10 rebounds for Moses Brown.
Doing his part for sure.
I think you're lucky if you end up with one of those top picks, and even this year, the NBA draft this year is said to be one of the deepest and best drafts over the course of the last decade. You've got Darren Peterson playing over at Kansas. You've got A.J. DeBanza over at BYU. There's some real talent heading towards the NBA next season. But basketball has probably seen a little bit better return rate as Quinones returns that one through the basket and one. 23 for Quinones tonight.
I would think so. I always find it fascinating. You've got guys that are high draft picks and they're good ball players, and the margin for error, for lack of a better word, to find and stay and stick in the NBA is so difficult. We see so much talent here in the G League especially, that what is that X factor that is preventing them from staying up in the big clubs?
A lot of the talk lately has been around tanking or anti-tanking.
Yeah, great point.
In the NBA. From the sound of it, it sounds like the lottery odds might actually freeze a little earlier in the season in the years ahead. That one's taken by Moses Brown. Perhaps even as early as the trade deadline.
Yeah, and it has been a source of contention. Oddly enough, you get arguments on both sides of the ball about that discussion. There's Coupette with a nice stroke.
They've sort of done some things like that in some other sports. Baseball, for example, has a few stipulations on picking high in the draft over multiple seasons. So this is not completely new, but I feel like we've talked about it more with basketball than some of the other sports.
Okay, so baseball has had that situation as well. Okay.
The Chicago White Sox were a team that most recently had to pick outside of the top 10 because of too many seasons in a row picking high.
I did not know that.
Dane Goodwin goes up high and splashes down that three.
Boy, if there was ever a team that needed some help, especially a couple years ago, it was the Chicago White Sox.
There's Smart. What a first half he had. A little too strong, but a long rebound comes out. Quinones from a mile away. Grand Rapids looks to run. Coupette with the right hand. And don't look now, but here comes Grand Rapids.
Gold just hanging around a little bit.
8 straight for the Gold. Trying to work their way back into this one. That'll catch a... Back here in Grand Rapids. Well, now it's a ball game again. We're still watching and waiting for Grand Rapids to get a little bit more rhythm, get themselves a little bit closer. But right now, 14 feels about as close as they've been. But there's still time, and it's the NBA G League. And what do we know about the NBA G League, Mike Coleman?
No lead is insurmountable, no deficit. Too deep for a team to come back. And you can never get complacent, that's for sure. But one thing I like about a Ryan Bowen team, they will never stop the hustle and the character of the coach to his players, and they're working hard.
So Osceola, who I think had some plans to dip a little farther into their bench, now have their starters on the floor, and they're showing it. Justin Minaya with a triple.
They just come at you from so many different directions. Minaya, not a great three-point shooter, but my goodness, almost 60 games in the NBA. Numbers don't lie.
Hard charge from Grand Rapids. Coleman Hawkins kicks it out to an open Hargrove. Who lands it? The three returns the favor thanks to Terrence Hargrove.
How about 6 of 8 shooting in this fourth frame? 4 of 5 from downtown.
Smart attacks and hits. Let's see if we get a little track meet action here with 8 minutes left. Dane Goodwin, he's had a night. He leaves it short. Osceola boards it. Smart. Nice game for him tonight off the bench with 17 points. A little corner action three is pure. Justin Minaya with the fire extinguisher here in Grand Rapids.
Magic just keeping Grand Rapids at bay. 3 straight trips on the court. Minaya, Javante Smart.
They'd love to get Dane Goodwin back on track, and he hits it. Dane Goodwin with 23.
Boy, what kind of run has he been on? 8 of his last 10 games, he's been 20-plus, a 3-year man out of Notre Dame.
Wheeler, they'll give him a corner three, and he'll knock down that corner triple. Nice night for Wheeler off the bench with 14.
You betcha. The leading three-point shooter at 42%, 2 of 4 tonight from down.
Well, it was a 14-point Osceola lead. Now they've expanded that back up towards 20. Can they get 3 more? Not this time. Minaya comes up short. Poke away. Fight for the basketball. It's with Beekman. Throws it up, and Baker has room and has 2. Big stuff for Baker.
Yeah, big stuff for Baker, and getting up very slowly is Rasul Diggins as he was spun down to the court by the physics of Will Baker.
Well, credit Grand Rapids for working their way back into this one momentarily, getting it a little bit closer, but Osceola has had that tendency tonight of sort of hitting the gas whenever they felt like it.
Yeah, you certainly feel they have that control switch facing in their direction. It takes so much energy to come back from a big deficit, and sometimes it's hard to really get up and over once you get to that point.
We were talking about the Denver Nuggets scoring 157 points last night. Nuggets will actually be playing a nationally televised game tomorrow afternoon. They're in Golden State to take on the Warriors. Well, speaking of a team that has dealt with injuries, we know the Nuggets have this season, but Golden State's also had their fair share of issues.
Yeah, really tough. Jimmy Butler was really the icing on the cake in a bad way. Bad icing on a bad cake.
That's not a cake you want to eat.
No, correct, Dan Hasty, and that was really something that, among others, that they've had to contend with.
Curtis Jones had to work through some tough defense from Morales, who got it picked from behind. They'll return it to him. He streaks and scores.
You know what I've liked about Osceola? They have really rattled Jones enough for a 4 of 14 shooting night. They made him work so hard, not able to penetrate like he likes to do.
Hargrove, a little too strong as it kicks down to Smart. Quick flash pass. Castleton beats him for the slam.
That was so pretty. How about that bolt pass? Just threaded the needle. Moses went down hard. He's all right.
And just as soon as Grand Rapids went on a 17-6 surge, Osceola counters with a 14-2 run. Timeout on the floor. Final 6 minutes when we come back here in the NBA G League. Well, Osceola showing everybody what's made them the best team in the NBA G League to start this season as we sit now 19 games in post-tip-off tournament. Final 6 minutes here in front of a good crowd in Grand Rapids who have seen the Magic put on a clinic ever since a little bit of a slow start here tonight. They have frustrated Curtis Jones. Moses Brown gets the dish and the dunk.
And you know, teams go through some tough stretches. Grand Rapids 7-14, 7-14 in the regular season. But Osceola started 5-11 last year, and they found themselves in the G League Finals, which you never can tell how things are going to turn out.
Time running low for Beekman. Morales beats the clock. And an offensive rebound for Osceola. We're talking about the Nuggets getting a chance against the Warriors tomorrow. They're not the only game going on, as beating the shot clock is Smart. Why not? Javonte Smart.
Give him 19 off the bench. My goodness.
Get Smart here in Grand Rapids. Goodwin nearly lost it, but Curtis Jones cleans it up with a triple. 15 for Cujo. We were talking about the Magic and the fact that they dropped one to the Suns today in double overtime. They go out to Beekman, who leaves it short. A little catch and dish. Morales puts it through.
I guess you're the experts.
That was a Jalen Green three-pointer at the buzzer to win it for Phoenix today.
How about that? Was that in the was that out west in Arizona?
Yes, it was.
There we go.
Fouls on Colton. That's 3.
So they're back in action tomorrow.
Team second.
They'll be playing at that brand new arena for the LA Clippers, which we saw in the NBA All-Star Game, one of the cooler venues that have been built in the NBA in quite some time.
Yeah, they really are getting wild. I think a lot about the new football stadiums, but you got to give the NBA new venues credit as well.
The Intuit Dome out in Inglewood, California, just invisible distance of SoFi Stadium. Of course, we have the Winter Olympics going on right now. We're not too far away from the Olympics in Los Angeles in the years ahead.
Absolutely true. Those venues will be used, I'm sure.
Have you seen the wall at the Intuit Dome by chance?
I have not.
So on one side of the floor, they built a steep wall intentionally and put it behind the opposing team's free throw basket or shooting basket for the second and fourth quarters so as to rattle those players.
Really?
Steve Ballmer. Looking for that home court advantage.
I guess the waving fans, they don't work anymore.
Spins out for Coleman Hawkins.
I wonder who thought of that contraption.
It is 51 rows uninterrupted.
Really?
Wheeler gets interrupted there. He'll go to the free throw line. So no split, no concourse in between, just 51 rows, essentially straight up. You might want to get leg day taken care of another day.
Obviously, we must be big enough they don't have to worry about putting fans on that side of the court. So
they actually had fans apply to be
right?
part of the wall.
Is that right? It's always nice to have volunteers, isn't that right?
That's a team that's gone under some pretty big changes the last couple of weeks. James Harden trade, Darius Garland comes back. You look at the parent club for this Osceola team, they made a huge trade during the offseason. There's an and one.
Count the basket.
It's a nice little step-through move by Ben Coupette. But Desmond Bain has been, I think, everything that Orlando was hoping when they acquired him.
Yeah, and I think they're moving in the right direction. They're getting there's good production from some young players, and Osceola sprinkling in with some contribution. It's just it's just an amazing pipeline that Osceola has with Orlando, and finally Orlando's decisions are paying off. They're having a nice season. I'm trying to remember the last time they finished over 500. It might have been a hot minute.
They've got another player, Orlando, that is on one of those two-way contracts that we thought we might see here today, but he ended up with the big club instead. But someone that made his name at the collegiate level in the state of Michigan, Jamal Cain, part of the Horizon League during his time as an Oakland Golden Grizzly. John L. Davis off the bench hit his first three of the night.
I was going to ask you about that for folks not in the know. Dan Hasty, the voice of Detroit Mercy men's basketball, and no stranger to Oakland University, and I'm sure you've seen Mr. Cain a time or two in his endeavors.
He was one of the best players in that league, and like so many other players that make it to the NBA or to a league like this in the NBA G League, pretty much have that as a prerequisite if you're going to be here. Dane Goodwin, one of the best players in recent history for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, picks up an assist thanks to Terrence Hargrove.
And you look at this Osceola team, they certainly don't need any extra help if you're the Grand Rapids Gold, as Jamal brings 20 and 7 rebounds to any game in an Osceola Magic uniform.
Baker is off target. Well, the Magic starting to ease up a little bit in the final 2 minutes here as Grand Rapids looks to close it up. Seymour still looking for his first basket. He'll take his first feed instead. Obede with the flush.
Obede with 6, good feed, newbie to newbie.
Ace Baldwin Jr., former Penn State Nittany Lion. Ooh, Seymour went up awkwardly and came down. Thankfully, he's all right. Diggins gets bumped, gets fouled. Something about the state of Michigan and the state of Florida. It feels like there's a lot of snowbirds that like to go down to Florida. And it's also the same with the Magic. You've got Franz Wagner,
right,
of course, who has been outstanding. They had Mo Wagner for many years. He's still part of that squad, and he's done a nice job as a role player for them, but they just drafted Jace Richardson from Michigan State. Jamal Cain is also part of that group. Jet Howard from Michigan. There's a real pipeline.
So I did not know Jet Howard was with the Magic. How about that?
First round pick back in 2023.
Yeah, I saw him last year, I believe, here at Van Andel.
Seymour loses the handle.
I'd be all right playing in Florida.
Seems to work for them.
Especially about a month ago with our weather issues.
I think right now, if you're a team in the Eastern Conference, you're just trying to stay healthy and get into the postseason with all hands on deck.
Absolutely true.
Think about the Bostons of the world that have had to deal with some major injuries. Smart puts a little cherry on top of his birthday cake. Javonte Smart with 22. Obede pulls back and rims out. Rebound Osceola. Well, this one was figured out a little while ago, especially after Grand Rapids had closed it to 14 points. But then a huge run, 14-2 by Osceola, put that one out of reach. And it looks like they will take the first of these two between these two teams over this 3-day stretch. Osceola's a winner tonight here in Grand Rapids.
You know, you got to love this Osceola team. They've won 6 of their last 8 road games, and they do it with their bench. 51 bench points to pace this team. And really, Dan, it was the bench that really got Osceola's pulse back up to a normal level when Javonte Smart, who led his team off the bench with 22 tonight, and really set the tone for this Magic club.
And he was a plus 17 off the bench in this one. Javonte Smart was 8 for 13 from the floor. If you get a performance like that from just about anybody on your bench, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, absolutely true. And when you have 7 in double figures, the balance, like we The only saving grace for Grand Rapids, they fought hard. They had 5 in double figures on their own, led by Dane Goodwin with another 20-plus performance night. But you get them on Monday night, too, so you learn a couple things. The new players for Grand Rapids with a game under their belt always seems to help, too.
Moses Brown leads the way for Grand Rapids, 22 points, 12 rebounds. But on the other side, Colin Castleton with 18 points and 15 boards in just 25 minutes. He made the most of his chances tonight.
Yeah, he certainly did. And you said he has played with 3 NBA teams, almost 50 games of NBA experience. Those types of experiences add up. So 2 NBA veterans going at it, and they both were very productive and fun to watch as they battled all night.
Well, as if we in the G League did not need a reminder of the talent that Osceola is bringing to the table. He put that on display here tonight against the Grand Rapids Gold. So that's going to do it for us. We thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, we'll be back here coming up on Monday for the second of these 2 contests between Grand Rapids and Osceola, 7 o'clock right here on NBAGleague.com. For our entire cast and crew, and for my broadcast partner, Mike Coleman, this is Dan Hasty reminding you of the final score tonight from Grand Rapids. The Osceola Magic 121, the Grand Rapids Gold 95. We'll talk to you on Monday. Until then, so long, everybody.